Good afternoon, all of you out there on Instagram Live and in our Zoom chat. Welcome. My name is Keera Walters, and I'm your host for this Friday afternoon episode of The Entrepreneur's Journey. Now, this is the penultimate event in a week long celebration of Global Entrepreneurs Week, and we have had so many different events that have been useful, informative, and exciting, I might say. But I think this one, today's set of events, will be the most fun and most exciting because on the entrepreneur's journey today, we are having what we call it, a fopple. So usually, yes, usually there's just me and our guest, one guest. But this time there's four wonderful, interesting young entrepreneurs that are going to be sharing their stories with us. And why is this? This is because at this time of year, the JBDC has come to start a practice where we acknowledge with some fanfare, I should say, the JBDC boss man and boss woman of the year. So this entrepreneur's journey is dedicated to that. We start off by introducing the nominees for this year's boss man and boss woman. Why am I introducing them already? We're going to get to that later on in the day. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm jumping to the next part. But the nominees are here with me. And we're starting off with the women. You don't mind, gentlemen? Wonderful. Okay, so here on my right, yes, I can remember my left and my right, I have the beautiful Monique McIntosh, and she is the CEO of the Digital Disruption Agency. And over to my left is Sarika Sterling, and she is the CEO of Senior Accounting Services Limited. Now, for the gentlemen, Bossman nominees, to my left is Armando Cox of Resolve IT Limited. And to my right, we have George Henry of Appfinity Technology Limited. Yes, that covers everyone. Welcome. How are you doing? You have to use your mics,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, we're fine.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, we have to get used to being on this set thing. Yeah, I know it's a little different. But how are you doing in the afternoon? How is it going?
I mean, I'm doing well. Thank you so
Exceptional.
much for having me here. It's a nice, fresh day. I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys. I'm happy to see these other entrepreneurs. I'm meeting them for the first time. Excited about the nomination and just looking forward to the rest of the day.
Wonderful.
Well, I'm very excited to be here.
Yes.
When I got the invite, I was like, okay, this is awesome. So I believe that I have a lot to share with persons about, as I say, the journey itself. So, I'm really excited to share my journey as well with everyone.
And we look forward to hearing it, George.
Definitely.
Nice.
As we talk about the entrepreneur's journey, I am so stoked and excited to be here amongst these exceptional persons and to be here with JBDC, who has been there since the beginning for me. Yay! So I'm just excited and grateful to be here.
I'm excited too. Can't contain myself. Come on. Yes,
Absolutely.
Armando.
Yes, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm looking forward to contribute to this program.
All right. So, if you've been with me on weeks before, you know that the entrepreneur's journey is where we really delve into the stories behind how these entrepreneurs get to where they are, how it is that they are now sitting in the seats that they hold, and what this journey has done to and for them. All right, and so we're gonna just kind of have a conversational style of that today. I'm gonna start off by asking you, Monique, to tell me, okay, what it is that your business does.
Okay, thank you. At the Digital Disruption Agency, we are a digital skills, resource, and education hub. The entire essence behind DDA is about digital education and empowering Caribbean nationals with the requisite tools, skills, information that's going to help them to both learn and earn online.
Wow, and when did this start?
So, evolutions and morphing. So I would have actually started my personal business, the Digital Marketing Chick, which was a consultancy business that I would have started in 2018. And since this year, I actually collaborated with my co-founder, Keera Francis. I am bigging you up from now.
Make sure.
Keera Francis, who is an exceptional content strategist, woman, entrepreneur, everything. And we founded DDA earlier this year. We had the conversation in May and formally registered in August.
Okay, interesting. So
Yes.
I know you said that that JBDC has been there with you from the beginning.
Yes.
Tell us how that relationship started.
Okay, so funnily enough, I did a coconut jewelry course with JBDC with Donna Gay, Utah. I'm still, yes, and that was instrumental because that was my beginning or my start of my entrepreneurship journey. Yes,
Okay.
while I was in university, I wanted to do this thing, and I started from there, and finished my degree, and so I decided, well, went to work. Full story, Lord, we're going round.
The short version.
Yes, short version, right? But I would have engaged. So after deciding to go into business and going into digital marketing, I would have engaged with a representative, one of the BDOs. At an event, and that's where this conversation, this relationship would have started.
So you should from coconut come to digital marketing.
Because I am a multifaceted and multi-talented woman.
Nice answer. All right. So that video that that you started working is Jermaine Brand.
It's Germaine.
Okay, cool. And so what has been what was the performance of, you said you started digital marketing chick
Yes.
in 2018. So you had about a year and a half of that. How was the performance of that business?
So that business was definitely growing, starting from scratch and being bootstrapped. I was able to make certain strides and accomplishments that I'm very proud of. Things like meeting and exceeding my salary that I was working in my corporate 9 to 5, and starting to now shift into a space of how do I make this more than something freelance, more than something I'm doing, more than something that is able to feed me, and now how do I build a business, which is where the support of JBDC really came in, and our conversations were evolving. Before COVID, I had ideas about what I wanted to do and where I wanted to take it, and yeah, like everybody else, you get a kick in the butt and say, hey, are you going to do it now or are you going to die? So, yeah, we chose the other one.
To do it now.
Yes. And I have to say, Jermaine, my BDO, has been instrumental in the entire journey. Patience, been there to hold my hand throughout the process. And I have to say thank you. Thank you, Jermaine.
I'm sure I'm looking in the chat to see if I'm getting some kind of response that I told him to make sure to log in. But as a startup though, Monique, what were some of the challenges that you faced starting this business? And
Lord, you face everything because when you are, first of all, I'm a social person, you know this, working alone, coming out of a corporate structure where you have systems and things put in place. And also, I think based on our entire educational system, we're kind of taught to follow the beat of a drum. You're not really taught how to build your own beat and how to create the infrastructure for the beat. So you know how to do this thing. But how do you create an entire system around what you know how to do? So if anybody that they know how to make bags or do jewelry or whatever, as Jamaicans, There's no doubt or question about our talent, about our abilities and what we can do. A lot of the time, what is lacking is the business skills and the business knowledge to take it from a hustle, to take it from eat a food, from make a money today to actually building legacy and building a business.
And I'm just being a troublemaker now, Monique. You never learned that at school, you got university.
Oh
You learn
no,
business, you never something there.
absolutely
What is
not.
the distinction? What is the distinction in the value that you got from working with JBDC, or even just being launching your own business and having that real life experience that you can say you did not get or were not able to receive from your academic experience?
Yes, everything. I mean, within a formal context, you really learn how to do this. You develop a skill. In a specific or a particular area. But the supporting infrastructure, as I would have mentioned before, around what is the context in which it operates in? How do you actually build a business?
You don't get
Ain't
that.
nobody teach you that.
George, me say everything. Help me. Tell me what has been this thing that stands out for you. What are the things that you didn't get, George, from your academic experience
Sure.
versus when you started?
Sure. Well, I like to start out by saying that I love school and all. It's great.
Yes.
And, big of school. However,
But, but,
there are certain fundamentals that you're just not going to get from school, and take an organization such as JBDC to sort of help you along the way. And I must like really hugely big up Jermaine. I mean, I don't like
Jeremy, in your video too.
yeah, man, I mean, Royal Boss. He like, he's a very bright guy. I must really say that, he has been, really instrumental in really, his advice. I can call him up at any time and say, hey, Jermaine, listen, man, think I need to change this. And I want to point that out as well because we're on the entrepreneurial journey. That the ability to really pivot, to be agile, to adjust as things and times change, it's like so critical. And I can call up Durbin and say, all right, I need to change here. So those things you just, you might hear it, at school or some people talk about it, but you really don't really learn it until you really start to do it itself. Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to pitch in on that whole, experience out there? Yeah. What's your view? Because Sarita, you're also in a professional industry, and so all of you had to go to school and get qualifications to be doing the jobs that you're doing and run the businesses that you're doing. But what's the difference?
Well, I could say that definitely I agree to some extent. What school provides to you is a foundation to build on. It doesn't give you the full picture. So when you go out there, for instance, I did accounting and tax in school, and when I went into the work world, I was only able to use, what I was able to use was the minimus to what was really required for me to execute my task. And what was required was much more than just the academic side of things. And I think as I agree, that's one of the things that is missing, that I don't think that probably the institutions or the students understand that this is not the place where you learn everything. This is the place where you get they're actually teaching you how to learn, I think, but they're not teaching you everything.
Okay.
So for me, when I went out on my own, I had to first recognize that there were a lot of areas that I did not know, really not because I wasn't smart or I couldn't do it, but just it was just something that I didn't learn. And one of the most important things as an entrepreneur is to embrace the reality that there's a lot of learning that you're going to do on your journey, and probably for the next 20, 50, or 100 years that your organization will be in existence, you will still be learning new things because learning doesn't stop. We're changing. The world is changing.
Oh,
So
my.
from that standpoint,
Can we get some virtual snaps? For real.
so so for me, COVID wasn't the thing that taught me to pivot. I am always fluid. Every day, is I tell my husband like sometimes I feel like my brain is always going because I'm always thinking, okay, what if 10 of my clients don't come back? What if somebody build an app and they can do accounting and tax and I don't have a job? Yeah, yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
It sounds like you and George need to talk
Exactly.
and build an app.
Money, you know all about that, right?
Just saying.
So, funnily enough, but because I think like that, we actually do build apps.
See,
Yeah, we
they
do.
know.
So, so saying that to say that I had to learn quickly that I was no longer in the corporate world, that every decision that was made, that's the other thing too, that let me just say that before I forget. When you start out on your own, you're the only one making the decision, and it's so extremely difficult because you're second guessing yourself and you're wondering, can I do this, can I do that? School doesn't teach you that. School teaches you that there's in a book you can call the teacher, and when you go to the work where you can call your boss. But when you're the boss and you don't have no staff, you're really bouncing ideas off the wall.
And
So
this
I...
Until you have JBDC. Plug.
No, I know. I mean, JBDC was very, very early, and I actually offered support to JBDC before I actually started using JBDC because I was there knocking my head against the bricks. And I'm like, but wait, JBDC offer things. So I reached out and, that's when I got some help. But I do agree that there's a gap in terms of what you learn from a business perspective and to become an entrepreneur. And what I'm also discovering is there's a gap even for staff. When you get persons employed in, there's really a gap to integrate them into having that kind of mindset.
Wow. Again, whole heap of points there. Touch
Here,
point.
I said there is a balance. So the academics is important, right? Here's the point. When I completed my master's, right after a year or two, the technology go obsolete. So obviously, I wouldn't be using that in the future. However, it put you in that position for you to regurgitate, for you to learn, read, understand, and even put your value on top of that, right? But where's the balance? The balance coming is because we need a support system. And the support system like JBDC is what is the balance. So yes, you understand the theory and you may apply it in somewhere in a limited scope, but when you have a mentor and when you have a support and a networking, you said you don't have a boss to go to, JBDC.
It's a partner.
So well, not a boss, but
Yeah,
a
we're
support system I'm
partners.
talking about.
Yes,
right?
I get
so you'll
you.
be able to say, well, here's it. I'm thinking about doing this or thinking do so you can bounce it on them and you can learn from somebody else's mistake. Even that networking, right? So you don't have to do it yourself and commit it yourself.
I agree, and that's one of the things that I learned when I started using JBDC rather late. That I went to them and I knew what I wanted to achieve, but I didn't know how to get there. And places like JBDC provide that support. So I think the gap that we're talking about is the ability to recognize that there actually is a gap and then to figure out what that gap is and then to ask for that help. The good thing is that JBDC can help you figure out the gap too, and that's a great thing about them, and that's one of the reasons why I always wanted to partner with them, because when I started my firm, my mandate was always to educate, because I feel like once we have an educated set of entrepreneurs, then we can guide them along the way. So I wanted to make accounting and taxation something that people understand and not fair. And JBDC created the space for me to contribute in that way. And I feel like, it has touched a lot of entrepreneurs.
What kind of support have you received from your video? The person that you're working with is Jordan, right?
Yes. So you guys have my file.
Yes, we can have your file. All the details.
Yes, I mean, I tell you, Jordan, and not just him. I think they were like, every
It's a
call
team.
I had about 5 people.
Yes,
Yeah, man,
we
I
give
feel
you a team.
big. Yeah, like I feel like I was in a boardroom. But we were looking for marketing and business development support. I didn't know where to turn. It was probably in the middle of COVID. And, you'll be surprised to know that, they're the ones that encouraged me to register my trademark. It was never registered. And, Jordan was like, okay, next week when you come back, you're going to have it registered. And I was like, all right. And, I got them registered. And I was surprised at how simple, it was. But, that push that they give you, because sometimes it's not only about not knowing. Sometimes you know, but it's just to get it done, and to have that person behind you, that you're going to be accountable. So they're like an accountability partner as well to get things done. So they provided great support. I mean, they helped me to write one of those fancy marketing statement that I don't remember what it's called, but like my value proposition, I think. Yes,
Yes.
and gave me just great insight as to how to place myself out there and how to highlight different things and how to use my data, to show what I'm doing and to get attention. And when I get it, how do you then transfer that into, to business? So that was really, really valuable, because all along I was just like, Lord Jesus, what am I going to do with the social media page? And how do I get new people? And how do I let them know that I care about them and I want to see their business grow and develop? And I know my job and I could translate that in terms of in accounting and tax talk, but I couldn't in terms of connecting. And that's what JBDC provided to me. And trust me, it's, I still
And you're still
use it.
receiving that.
Yes, I am. I'm still
Okay.
receiving the return on it.
All right. So when did you start your business, Sarita? Sarika?
I started my business January 2016. So, at the end of 2015, I was, thinking about my life and, where do you want to go? The truth is I don't stay in any job for a very, very long time. I remember once someone shared that with me. They said, Sarika, don't stay anywhere too long. Once you have learned how to do your job and you need to move on, it's okay to move on. So throughout my career, I've always taken the opportunity to move. I'm a planner. So I'm like, right now I'm thinking what's going to happen in the next 5 years. So I knew what I wanted to achieve from my first job. I achieved it. And when I attempted to say, okay, now I have new goals, can I achieve them here? I realized I couldn't. So I moved on. So in that last job now in 2015, I was like, okay, Sarika, where do you see yourself? You have learned as much as you can. You know how to do your job. What next? And I said, I would love to try something on my own. And my husband said, sure, go ahead, I'll support you. He always wanted me. So he's like, Circle, but I've been telling you that from whenever. You just come to the realization. So he said, go ahead, I have a good job, I can support you. Go and try, and if it doesn't work. So I left my job and
Good husband.
yes, I
Big up
know.
husband.
Yes, shout out. So I left my job, and the job that I was in, I can't compete. So you can't work and then do anything on the side. There was no such thing as a hustle in the tax and accounting, because your contract tells you that you cannot do anything in that sphere. So I had to quit my job, leave, and then started the company. So I registered and everything. So January 1, I had zero staff, I had zero clients, but I had a very nice website and some brochures and my living room dining table, and I started going out there, and I must big up a few people that helped me along the way. Like I met JBDC very, very early, and I saw the work that they did, and they created a space. They facilitated my mandate, which allowed me to be out there to help educate persons and to gain clients. And I have a friend called Sadiqa Daram, and she was the one that taught me about networking. She's like, Sarika, no, man, you have to go out there, bring your handbag, talk to two people, pass out two cards. And I was like, okay. I didn't really, but, I started in 2016, and for the first year, it went okay. Unlike my friend here, I didn't get my year salary, but I was like, all right. And then 2017, tragedy struck. I lost two of my kids, and I couldn't function for the year. So the
Wow.
business kind of did nothing. And then towards the end of 2017, when things kind of started to look okay, I said, okay, let me get back into this. And I really dug my heels in. I reached out to all the persons that I would have met before, Sansia and Melissa and everyone. And, I started trying to get back in there. And I did. I blew myself away. I then exceeded my
The salary. Okay.
yes,
Cheer,
I,
flash cheer.
yes, and then what blew me away was keeping my head down and pushing. And in 2019, I think that I is it coupled my income?
You could.
I did.
Quadrupled.
Yeah, it went up probably 4 or 5 times what I made the year before.
Awesome.
Yes, so I was like, wow, that's something I can work, man.
Yes.
So the journey has been great. I have, increased I started with like zero clients to now having like over 100. I started out with only local clients to now having clients all over the world, Colombia, UK, the United States, all over the place. And
To me, nice.
so I think the journey has been very good. And One of the best things that happened to me was that I was able to pay back my husband in dividends for what he did. That, in that,
You look like somebody wants to find out if you want a next husband down there. Well, another one, another one.
I want she wants a wife.
Oh, this is getting so interesting. Oh,
I mean, what
let's turn
happened
this
was that,
episode of Big Love.
he cooks. So I really, really appreciated what he did, and I recognize that not very many men would do that. And I always said to him, I say, you know what? I really want to retire you nicely.
Ooh, let me
one of the
upgrade
so,
you.
so, so one of the things is that I worked very, very hard, and the reason why I worked very, very hard was because of my kids and my husband. And at the beginning of 2019, he was able to leave that job that was able to take care of the entire family to join my company, or which turned out to now be our company, because I changed from a sole trader to now a limited liability. We're both directors and partners in the company, and we're still able to, manage our household. We're not just eat a food. You know what I mean? So that was probably the biggest thing for me, that I was able to pay him back for that risk that he took on me, or that confidence that he had in me.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, I need a moment. I need a moment for that. That is such a beautiful, yeah, man, for real.
I'm not sure there are any dry eyes.
Like I need a moment. That's just so. There's so many things that you said in that you shared just now, Sarika. Oh my goodness, the nuggets in terms of taking that risk, and also I remember Armando on your when we had your interview a few weeks ago, you mentioned the importance of having support, family. And we're seeing that come out again right now. And networking and thinking ahead, and there's just so many things that you
Yeah,
drop. I hope
man.
y'all were paying attention.
Definitely friends who
Right?
support you, and family.
And believing in yourself, because you were the one, even though your husband has been a strong solid support, you first had to make that decision to say, I'm gonna literally quit my job. And I know that's not easy for an independent woman to do, right?
No, that's a challenge for a lot of us entrepreneurs. We believe in the product. We believe that we can do the thing. But that transition that you have to make to move away from what is dedicated salary, so to speak, to unknown,
Choose ye now which God you shall
right?
serve.
And you see, she told you she couldn't freelance and try to build.
Not
Unlike
an
me,
option.
There were no options.
Not an
she had to
option.
do cold turkey, cut off and start.
And it
Right?
paid off. Quadruple time, triple time.
Yeah,
I'm
yes,
not cursing.
yes, it did. I remember, and one of the things that I want to encourage entrepreneurs to do is to embrace, if it is that you have the opportunity to get some support, embrace not having money. I think not having money is like a big motivator. So for me, no.
I don't know why I feel like I need to turn to George a while ago when you said that.
George, what I say?
George, you work with that. I don't know.
No, I believe it's huge what you just said. Embrace not having money.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs that believe that, all right, you know what, as I'm gonna start this out, I'm just gonna go ahead and just start making some crazy money or whatever. I mean, it's not likely to happen. You have to embrace that, not having money.
George, lift the mic up a little bit,
Sure,
so we can
no
hear our
problem.
project a little more.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I believe that you have to embrace that. When I started out, and going back to the school thing a little bit, when I was in college, I was jerking chicken and selling that. I was selling sweetie, going out there
The
selling
hustle.
books, like learning to hustle.
Yeah.
And that is very important, because you have a lot of entrepreneurs who say, all right, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur, but when you say to them, all right, what have you done? Then it's like blank. So that is very important, and
What you learn from the hustle?
like so much, so
Yeah.
much.
Tell me
To-
some
to-
things.
to-
Pimento is a secret.
About the business part.
to start off with, one of the most important is to learn to pivot. I mean, I remember once we were jerking chicken, and I was doing that to send myself to school, and I was going. I went to NCU, and all of a sudden administrator come, oh, you guys can't stay there and jerk chicken anymore. So we had to now transition into, cooking the food at home and then delivering it on campus, which was doing very well. So that's very important lesson that we learned there. The ability to pivot, really transition how we actually do business today. We learned not to, well, me, myself, I learned not to really be too sentimental on any, one product
Say that
itself.
again, please. Say it again. What you said a while ago?
Right. I learned not to be too sentimental on any, one product or any idea.
Don't get attached.
Because, once you get attached, that's where you'll feel. You have to learn to listen to your market
Aye.
and adopt and pivot to what it is
Amen,
that the market
church,
is
yes.
that's looking
Yes.
for.
Yeah.
So, because we're in the software as a service.
Yes, and you
development
started
business.
off with which product? The tickies.
Tickies,
Yes.
right? So we started off with
As in the
Tickies.
sweetie?
Tell us about.
So
tell
Tickies
us about-
it's a school-based learning management application. Because I was a teacher, and you pointed out about leaving the job, and that's why I was like, yeah, like really, because I was teaching, and while I was teaching, I recognized that there is like huge problems in Jamaica where students' behavior is concerned and managing and maintaining that students' behavior, and as time advances, it is the same ancient days principles that the teachers are constantly using to manage the students' behavior. So I wanted to find a better way to maintain students' behavior. And, I just sort of like said, you know what, I'm going to leave teaching. I just left, not knowing what I'm going to do and to build a platform. Now, as we built the platform and as we built the platform, we realized that it's moving more into not necessarily in a behavior management system, but more of in an entire school management system. So we actually had to pivot there again to facilitate more of what schools needed and not necessarily what I had in my mind that the schools needed. And, I did that because we started in 2017. And my model has always been to create value. And, even before I registered the company, we started to build the platform. And we built 2 platforms because, from the IT field, going out there to somebody, and by the way, I'm from Trelawney, so I don't know nothing about Kingston, don't know anybody up here. So it's not a case where, I had links or anything like that. So, coming to Kingston, I needed to have something where if I'm going to be going out there and saying to somebody, hey, I can build you a system that's going to revolutionize your business, I needed to have something that I can point to them and say, look at this software. So we spent a year literally just building. I don't even know where I get money from or food or anything.
I was wondering the same thing. Can you say it?
we just embrace
no
the
money.
Like it's so important, like really important. We just spent a year and built, and then registered our business, and then we started to go out there more and more. And as like yourself, we started from zero, have no clients, have pretty much just me and 2 other engineers. And today we have moved from just 3 persons to 11 people we have now,
Wow.
full time, and some other persons that we do part time as well. So that embracing the no money, learning to pivot, learning to adjust based on what your customers need, it was like really, really critically important for us there as well.
Wow. That was just like, okay, the no money thing, but still can I recover from it? Because I am coward. I'm gonna admit it. That's why I have a job. And you guys are the entrepreneurs. Me coward, bud. So I wanted to just kind of go back a little bit on the fact that during this whole period, you spent over a year doing what we call market testing. So you are testing the product, getting that product validated.
Validated, yeah.
Yes. And I want to stress how important that is because a lot of lot of persons who have not yet started a business will often think that I'm just gonna jump right in and the money going come right away. And especially for persons who have to build something. For services, it might be a little bit easier, but even then, sometimes you still have to be offering your services, as in delivering it, such that you can get that feedback that you're talking about, which is what really validates the worth of it.
Jamaicans don't believe anything the first time.
See it there?
We've been burnt over and over and over and over. In order for an organization, you're talking about services where I can't touch it, I can't feel it, I can't hold it, you're not giving me something.
They're not paying for it. They're not paying for
But
it.
So
that's
they
true.
they
That's
have
true.
to they have to work with you. They have to understand you. They have to conceptually they too. You talked about education. Even in delivering or providing a service, your client has to understand what it is that you do, or else they're not going to value it. They're not going to see how it fits into the bigger picture. So education, despite
And you're
if you're in
talking
the
about
education
client
business,
education now.
yes.
Okay. That's be
Whether or not
specific.
you're in the education business or not is very important.
Yeah.
I agree, and I wanted to chime in on that because when you said it, I was about to say something, but then I said let me wait a little bit because it's not easy, especially to sell a service. Why? Because I think most of us will like instant gratification. So if I'm not telling you that you're gonna get money next week, you don't really want to hear. So I had a big challenge, and that's one of the reasons why I knew from before I even started the company that education in my field is key. No one likes tax. No one wants to hear that I'm going to come and tax you. They don't even care, how it's done.
Amanda know all about that.
You know, and a lot of people they don't once they're selling and they're getting money, they're not considering how the accounts look. So for me, I had to, before even selling senior accounting services, I had to first sell accounting and tax, and I had to actually teach them what it is
Make
because
it
it's not
sexy
something that
or
people learn in
palatable.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it
So I have to first
palatable.
teach them what it is. Then I have to teach them the importance of it to their business. Then I have to show them how it adds value and how they're going to make money from me doing their taxes. Basically, that's what everybody want to know now. So, me, I gonna make money by
line.
you doing my taxes. So it's for us in the service industry, it's a lot harder than if you have a product, because you
Yep.
first have to educate them, you have to show them, and then even then, it's a year-to-year thing because people may decide that them not file a tax this year.
Just
I mean,
so.
or
Because of
I don't
COVID.
need
And
a
just it's COVID and say it's
financials.
because it's COVID,
Yeah, I
so
don't need any
not doing it
financials,
this year.
and
Everything
and
cancel.
usually accounting and tax is the first thing they cut, because you can't see it, as she said, you can't touch it. What they're seeing are the staff. What they're seeing is JPS and the water bill and the rent and the fact that they need to push out the products. There's no tangible benefit to accounting and taxation, so it makes it that much harder to sell.
Yeah. Armando.
I think the part that is missing, I'm with you, right? And I'm with you as well. We are saying the same thing. But I think the part that is missing in the conversation is the value add. So, yes, it's not a product, it is a service. But as long as you, while delivering the service, you're adding value. And the value must not be perceived only. They must be able to relate to it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be impacting them, right? And then that's where the service would be received.
So
But for you, no,
go ahead.
for you, I can understand how you got there, but let's rewind to say even before you started your company. Did you consider accounting and tax to be something valuable to you at that point?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That yeah, that
It
was
was
the
not on my
first.
top three, nor top five.
Exactly. So for you, you
Word.
evolved into that person. You realize probably, I don't know, maybe when you got a bank and the bank said what the financials there, or when you wanted to get that contract with the
No, it was when the
government.
taxman turned up at his door.
Okay.
Literally.
That's normally what happens, and then they come with a sock drawer or a shoebox full of things for us to look through and do it like this so I can get the loan. But for me, why I started the whole education campaign is just that. I'm saying I don't want you to get to the point where you want a loan or you want to expand or you want that contract or the taxman come.
Yeah.
I want you to start early, and that's why I decided to work with JBDC because I felt like this is the incubator where a lot of persons start. They're not thinking about it, so if I can get in there early and get them to think about it and to start out well, then that's how we can assure their success.
Two principles just delivered right there. One, the principle of looking to offer your assistance, as in to help somebody else. I think it's Jim Rohn who said that if you want, no, it's Zig said that if you want, two of them, want to become, if you want to become wealthy, then you have to learn how to help other, find out how to help other people. So you did that. And the second one is, it just flies on my head. So you said something, George?
Value.
Add value. Yeah. So it's educate and show, exactly, show them how you add value with the that's the education part, and helping, being
So now
willing
my
to help.
friend
So
know.
now I'll,
That's why I'm teeing up now.
yes, but he had to learn the hard way. He had to learn the hard way. Armando, tell us again. Well, I don't know if you guys were here in the previous session that we had with Armando, but tell us about Resolve IT and a little bit about that story of starting and getting here.
Sure. So Resolve IT is a full service IT company. Right? We focus on helping businesses to improve their performance. And so we focus on what we call the core services that every organization would need, even an IT company. Communication, collaboration, security, automation, and infrastructure. So those are the things that we focus on, and we try to get it to work in an efficient way so you can achieve their operational and strategic goals. Uh, our journey is really long.
I know. I know. Not
Y-
from
y-
the way we're
yeah,
beginning.
yeah. I'll summarize it. So yes, we've been doing this for 16 years, right? And like we said before, it started from just a passion.
Yeah.
You know, I like to do things. I like to explore, understand how things work. That evolved, you know, started from fixing sharpeners and pens, and it evolved into trading, still not formal, right? Then it moved into a commercial space, starting to employ people, still being employed fully right throughout that journey. So I've been, you know, struggling too. Then that evolved eventually into expanding our services, right? Um, and then we realized, based on the model that we were using, we thought it wasn't sustainable. The model we were using at the time is what we call break fix. So the mic is broken, you call us, and we will
Yeah,
come and
fix
fix
it.
it. But what if the mic isn't broken?
No business.
Can't put our pot on the fire, right?
No business.
And it's not that we're going to fix the mic halfway because
So you come
that's
back.
dishonesty. So we don't do that, right? So when we do it, we go to the root cause because we wanted to fix it so it never break
Right.
again,
Yeah.
right? So what we did now, we add value to that, where we now start to say to our customers, instead of waiting for it to break, let us check it routinely before it break. So we'll come in, check the mic, make sure that it needs battery, probably need to change something. So we call it preventative maintenance,
If it ain't broke,
right?
upgrade it.
And of course, I had to now educate my client base why that is important, because the objective of that is to minimize downtime. So you not having the mic here on this
Critical.
important day, it could impact you, your brand,
Right.
right? So that evolved again from break fix to we moved to what is called managed services, where now we are offering a suite of services and we are now managing the services. The client would outsource the risk to us. It's our duty, our responsibility to make sure your internet is working, your email is working, you're secure, the antivirus is there, that we train your employees to be aware of the cybersecurity threats that are out there.
How you got to JBDC?
Right. So JBDC was recommended to me by a friend.
Good friend.
Saw saw the name, never really understand what it is. I thought, what can I lose? Because I am interested in networking. I'm now at the stage where full-time job, business is growing, I have a lot of opportunities. I didn't have the formal structure nor training to conduct a business and even scale a business. So I thought, let's go in, let's get some networking, know people, get some contacts and some links, make some links, right? And then I discovered that JBDC really is the best kept secret, right? So because what happened is that we were doing business for years and we were growing as well, but I didn't understand the numbers. I couldn't say, well, if I get 10 customers next month, how would that impact my business? What kind of draw that would be? What else do I need to prepare for these 10? How long will it take me? What is my gross profit margin? What is my net profit margin? What is the contribution margin of each product category that I have? These are all the terms that I learned from JBDC, by the way. Right, but the
I'm
point,
sure they're very proud.
See a financial advisor over there doing the dance. She got through. She's seen
Right.
success.
but the point though is that once I started to be exposed to that knowledge, the structure started to come to me. JBDC offered the assistance to put this corporate structure in place that was needed, right? Provided the board advisory. That was the
Advisory
first
board,
feel
right.
as an official board, right? Then from there on, I started to now see the light much brighter, so to
Yes,
speak.
yes.
Right? See clearly now, like
Yes.
Jimmy Cliff, right?
And from that initial point when you made contact and you started to see the light, what has happened since that, but that period?
So there's a lot of things happened. Some of the notable ones are we started to employ more people, so we expanded our team. We have regional presence now, so we are offering services to the Caribbean. Never set foot in this place, but we're doing it remotely, right? That's the beauty of technology. We have our revenue has grown significantly, albeit what happened in COVID March for us because we had closed our service center. We are at about 60% of we have achieved last year's revenue, and we are going to pass it by 60%.
Projected to.
Projected
Wow.
to be, right. We Resolve IT was awarded the best managed service provider for Bitdefender. That's one of our partners for security. So we were the top Bitdefender partner for Jamaica in 2019. And we are also Microsoft strategic partner. Yeah. And last week, was it, or week before, can't say much on this one, I had the pleasure of meeting the minister, talking about great things to come, to impact the entire country directly and indirectly. Yeah. So
some things in the
so
pipeline.
there's a lot of things that are happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I see time coming down, so we're going to do a little super speed up and wrap up here. So you basically just said that you get an upgrade when you come to JBDC. So I'm summarizing very
Version 2.
succinctly.
Version 1.2.
What version 1.2 of Resolve IT? I said 2.0. Yeah, man. Upgrade thing. New level, new model. And that's really because you learned how to work on the business instead of just in the business. Amen.
Absolutely. That's it. That's a good summary.
Uh,
And if I can say quickly,
yes. Quickly.
that is part of the challenge that we have as an entrepreneur.
Letting go.
So so when we start, we are building. We're putting on the mortar and the block and putting the steel and all that kind of stuff. But we are not. We are so consumed by the day-to-day operations. We don't have a lot of time to get a bird's eye view from the top to say, well, no, but I'm going to need a different kind of roof.
Tell
Or
them
maybe
set importance
behind this-
again,
You see,
please.
and that is important. There's a time to
Absolutely
step back,
critical.
see where we are, assess, and you said it earlier, pivot if you have to and change.
Yes.
Of course,
Yes.
right?
And
And
don't do that.
not being sentimental about what you said. Even if you started doing this 10 years and you've been doing it well and it's just
Yes.
not sustainable,
Yes.
it's okay to let go and change.
One of the things that I always say quickly is that you don't know what you don't know. And I hear you, you're saying that, you have to step back and look. But sometimes you step back and look, you don't know what you're looking for. or what
You're
you're
looking
looking at.
at.
Exactly.
Lord.
And that it's very important for you. And I think, as he rightfully said, that's where JBDC comes in. It's not just a place to come when you feel like, you probably need to network or you want to, figure out where to land. But it's really a place to go from the start to be able to figure out what are the things am I supposed to be looking for along this journey. Because it's difficult to figure it out along the way on your own because you don't know
You
what
can't
you're
see.
looking
The
for. You
focus is
can't
too
see it.
narrow. Yeah.
So that's one of the things, that I really admire about JBDC, that they facilitate that. And that's and the reason why we align so well is because that's one of the things that every client that comes to me, we have a meeting. And I say to them, don't worry about paying, right? We are going to set you on a track to be able to identify when you need to actually pay. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So you're not paying me day one, but this is when you probably need to come back to me. When you see this happening and when you see that happening, you give me a call and then we can go. Because it's really about helping everyone along their journey. I'm not here to break your bank and put you out of business with my fees. I want you to survive
So
because
they
the
can get
longer
more
you
business.
survive, the
Neutrality.
more you
business.
pay me.
Thank you
Neutrality.
so much, Sirika. That,
Neutrality.
that just summarize even the very motivation and approach that we here at JBDC take, in that sometimes people come and we tell them that, hey, there's this process of assessment, and they get annoyed or they don't see why, they don't see the value in it. But it's really for that. It's for that bird's eye view, that broad view that gives you the opportunity to see what you normally would not have been
And
able
a
to see.
customized look, something that's not just a cookie cutter
No,
approach, but something
no.
that is actually tailored to what you
Exactly.
need.
So you again can stop spin around like chicken without
Kira,
head,
Kira,
as we
Kira,
normally say.
Kira, the assessment is mandatory for us. There's no
Where you
way.
can, all right. And them telling me to wrap up because at the time I have 10 minutes according to that clock here. It done? Okay. All right. All right. So according to the people who are in the production, them say it's time to wrap up. Now, I am like having so much fun, and I'm sure that the reason I'm not seeing many comments in the chat is because everybody else so enthralled and listening with what's going on. George, Monique, Armando, Sarika, I want to say congratulations on your nominations and all the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
So far, you're
Thank you
already
so
winners. You're already
yeah.
winning. So
I-
this is
I
just
think-
like accolades. But good luck with it. And thank you so much for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Journey, the Boss Man, Boss Woman edition.
It was a pleasure.
Thank,
Thank
you.
you.
All right,
Thanks for
thanks.
having us.
Thanks.
And following this, don't go nowhere. For you on Instagram, just it going come off, just sign back in because we have the Boss Man, Boss Woman awards coming right after this. She said, "It's Boss Lady, Boss Lady." Okay, Boss Man and Boss Lady. So come right back, just click back in, stay in the Zoom. The award ceremony comes after this. Yes.